Hello, Uta here with a late blooming daffodil called geranium. And, oh, the lilies of the valley are starting to bloom. They have those long, pointy leaves, and there you are. Now, some people don't want to grow lilies of the valley because my understanding is that they're poisonous, and if you have a dog or a cat that you're concerned might be nibbling on it, then it's probably best not to plant it. But they are a lovely, fragrant, early spring flower that comes up again and again, a garden flower. I don't think they are a native wildflower. But you will see the bees trying to get a little bit of nectar out of them, and the stem will just bend over with the bee. So I'm procrastinating here because this is quite a story. This is the second time that someone who had worked in the escort industry, I'm going to use that euphemism, uh, a person who worked in the clubs in the escort industry, second time. I've been told, yeah, I think it's entirely possible that your husband or any cross dressing man is going to be, in you, if you want to say, serviced um, by someone working in the clubs or working as an escort. Um, I'm just going to say, no, I'm not going to say it. We all know. We all know what that means. It's about paying to have sex or to have some kind of sexually oriented experience for pay. A lot of people think that they can pay for affection, but you cannot pay for love. Okay. Where are we? ah, oh dear. Where am I? Oh, I can't imagine the horror of coming home early and catching your husband, not to mention being asked to go along with his fantasy. Now, a trans widow who has recently contacted me, who will later have her story told under the pen name Anna Bellicosa, she she did come home to find evidence, and her husband passed out, um, and those articles of female clothing somewhere involved, and that was her window, her revelation or discovery. It's actually a discovery, right? So uh, this is something that the therapists will euphemize. They will act like it's something called sex therapy. Okay, I'm not sure where to start, so here goes. And thank you. I'm going to call you Persephone. uh, yeah, Persephone, thank you for coming forward and letting us know what it was like to be a stripper and an escort and have men come and want uh, to pay to have fetish enactments. That's what I'll call it. Yeah. Uh, you may ask me anything you like. I'm not traumatized by my past. Thank you. In 87, I danced at a strip club. This is out in the far west. We got paid $50 per stage set, commission drinks. The drinks were $10 for a soda, uh, and $20 for a real drink, and $100 for a bottle of awful champagne. I can just imagine. uh, Plus tips. One night, this man came in, bought me a drink, and told me his fantasy was to dress up like one of the dancers and sit at a table with us and be one of the girls. Uh, I talked to the ladies and my boss, and we said, sure. My boss was so funny. Is he gay? I think he's gay. We weren't sure either. So he bought a round of $20 drinks, and we took him in the ladies' room. He got dressed and we helped him with his makeup. He chopped everyone a line, which means I guess they're doing cocaine. Um, and we went back to our table and ordered more drinks. We attempted to teach him how to walk in heels, which was as hilarious as you can imagine. It would probably just as hilarious to try to teach Uta to walk in heels because I really can't. I feel bad for anybody who forces them into those high heels. Any woman. Um, it's hard on your feet, hard on your back. It's not anatomical article of clothing, those high heels. We are not Barbie, we don't have Barbie doll feet, you know, like that. Okay, chopped everyone a line and we went back to our table and ordered more drinks. We attempted to teach him how to walk in heels, which was as hilarious as you can imagine. We sat with him and talked. He was funny, generous with his Coke, and buying drinks. And she says in parentheses, every cross dresser I've ever seen professionally was drinking and doing cocaine. Some men only call escorts when they're high on Coke. Funny thing. Which is funny because cocaine is like alcohol. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. He came in from time to time and was always the same. He changed back into his regular clothes and left at the end of the evening. In 1990, I went to a new far west coast town on a dance contract. The club had dorms for the dancers to stay, and my roommate was Vickie. She was a transgender, so that means a cross-sex ideating man who ideates or fantasizes a female persona for himself. Okay? I figured she was safe because she had top and bottom surgery. Those euphemisms for the surgeries that they do on men to make their genitals appear female. She claimed to be a lesbian, which confused me because I thought only gay men got the surgeries. Okay, well, so this is 1990. So this is right before I'm about to go through my hell. Okay. So this person is very bending over backwards and saying she. I am not going to say she for Vickie. He's a biological male. He got his surgeries in the 1980s in a California prison. We were friends for many years. We got drunk together one night and he kept play wrestling with me. He was very strong and I remember thinking, this is a man. He kept trying to talk me into lesbian sex. I was drunk and I just wanted him to leave me alone, so I said yes. It was 1990 and it felt like a silly drunk incident. I ran into Vickie several months later and gave him a big hug and asked how he was. We talked and then he apologized for that night. So apparently he remembered it. I give him a lot of credit for that. Well, I don't actually. Yeah. We were friends for many years. He was a schizophrenic and came from a very abusive family. Huh. I wonder if the California prison doctors looked into that at all before they did those irreversible surgeries. I'm telling about, let's see. I will never understand why doctors would give such a troubled person a, in quotes, sex change operation. I'm telling the story about Vickie because I'm very worried about all these young girls going into the military and college and are expected to treat these confused and predatory men as women. I can tell you from experience it doesn't matter if they have the so-called bottom surgery. They are still men, and these girls have no idea what they're walking into. Not many people understand cross-dressers. Huh. In the late 90s, after a rough divorce, I started working for an escort service. The cross-dresser dates were easy, lucrative, and they always had cocaine. They just wanted to play dress up and act like a girl. Their lingerie never fit. It was obvious they borrowed their wife's clothes. Yeah. I don't think Nettie borrowed any of mine because I really didn't have a big enough wardrobe. And I don't think I had anything that you would call even lingerie. I always figured, if that's going to happen, you're going to take all that off pretty quick. And so, what's the point? Hmm. Okay. The cross-dresser dates were easy, lucrative, and they always had cocaine. They just wanted to play dress up and act like a girl. Their lingerie never fit. It was obvious that they borrowed their wife's clothes. That always struck me as odd. They'd drop 500 to 1,000 on the drugs and hookers. That's her word. But couldn't manage to buy their own lingerie. Yeah, I can just imagine, the the clothing and the wardrobe that their wife actually had. One guy in particular stands out. We called him Roger the Dodger. He was a client for over 20 years. He spent a lot of money. He had a really nice house and would have two ladies see him at a time. Yeah, I'm about to also record something, part two of Alruna, the sister, whose brother, who got into this, uh, yeah, had this kind of menage a trois thing. Also, okay. I don't know why he was so paranoid and high he couldn't even concentrate on his fetish. I believe he's divorced, but he's still doing the same thing. All those places in this town got shut down in the early aughts, in the early 2000s. So he's been at it for 40 years. I can't imagine. I can't speak for anyone, but the crossdressers and masochists never wanted any sex. It was all about the fetish. I've never met a true transsexual. Me too. I think none of us have. I never heard of Ray Blanchard's typology until recently. Dr. Ray Blanchard, who made the typology of true trans versus autogynephile. Yeah. I don't believe in it. I don't think there's really any way to tell because the whole sensuality part of it involves the chemicals oxytocin, adrenaline, and dopamine. And so you don't know what the motivation is and what the function of the uh, role play sexuality is. Uh, I hope this makes sense and is helpful. Now she's out of it. She got clean and she's completely out of all that stripper escort club scene. I'm very glad for you, Persephone. I really get angry at the thought of all these men in dresses forcing everyone to play along with their fetish. They might well be wearing leather BDSM gear as far as I'm concerned. And she says, have fun in your garden and enjoy the spring. You know, I am. I weeded around my peonies. I'm really looking forward to good peonies this year. Um, I, you know, Dolores, who used to own my house, apparently had a peony garden because I'm digging up all kind of little ones and finding better places for them in my front yard. And I also have mint there, so that means that I have to weed that out of my peonies, and it keeps me busy. Therefore, let's see, where are we? Yes, enjoy the rest of our beautiful spring flowers and be well in mind and body.